Imagine for a moment you're an imperial study companion to a future emperor. What kind of life is that? How do you possibly balance, immense duty, a genuine friendship, and your own burgeoning sense of self? Especially when the person you're closest to is, well, by all accounts, living in a gilded cage.
It's almost unimaginable, isn't it? The sheer weight. An entire nation's expectations just resting on someone so young.
Yeah.
It really pushes you to think about the personal cost of such a public institutional role.
It absolutely does. And that weighty premise is precisely what we're plunging into today. We're embarking on a truly fascinating deep dive into a significant piece of post-war Japanese literature and its, well, surprisingly controversial film adaptation, Kodoku no Hito.
Often translated as The Lonely Person.
Exactly. This 1956 novel by Taisuke Fujishima offers this rare, intimate, sometimes startling look at the Crown Prince, who would later become Emperor Emeritus Akihito, and the incredibly complex human dynamics of his school days.
So our mission today is to really unpack the core insights from this influential work. We want to understand its powerful narrative, grasp the real-world impact it had on how people saw the imperial family, and sort of unravel the dramatic story behind its film version.
Right.
We'll be drawing from detailed Wikipedia entries and comprehensive summaries of the novel's trajectory and characters to, guide our exploration.
Okay, so to truly appreciate the unique insights here, we have to start with its fascinating origins. The author, Taisuke Fujishima, he wasn't just some literary observer looking in from the outside.
No.
He was one of the Crown Prince's actual imperial study companions. How do you think that unique position gave him such, well, unparalleled access and insight?
Well, that's the crux of its power, really. Fujishima's unique perspective as an insider, someone who literally walked the halls, shared everyday moments with the Crown Prince, it allowed him to capture a level of raw human detail that would have been impossible for an outsider. His stated motivation for writing it was deeply personal, too. He said he wanted people to know more about the Crown Prince's actual situation.
Right.
This wasn't just fiction. It was a deeply felt attempt to humanize a figure who, back then, was more of a distant symbol, almost divine, than a relatable person.
And it certainly got people talking.
Yeah.
When Kodoku no Hito was published in April '56, it was an immediate sensation. Weekly Asahi even ran this massive 19-page feature before it came out.
Wow.
Really fueling public curiosity made it an instant bestseller. And the title itself is incredibly evocative. The original working title was Kodoku no Kishansha.
Which means accomplices in loneliness.
Right. But that got changed.
Yes, and the change tells you a lot about the publisher, Mikasa Shobo's, intentions. They switched it to Kodoku no Hito, the lonely person, probably for greater impact.
Makes sense.
It wasn't just marketing, though. It strategically emphasized the Crown Prince's profound isolation. It sets the stage right from the cover for the novel's central, poignant theme, tells you this isn't going to be a light read.
Definitely not simple. And that complexity is mirrored in the setting itself, Gakushuin High School. That's where most of the story happens, focusing on the Crown Prince's second and third years. What really surprised me was reading about how different student life was back then.
Oh, absolutely. The source material highlights things like commonplace smoking and drinking, not just on school grounds, but remarkably even inside the imperial palace.
Inside the palace.
Yeah. Imagine telling a school principal today that students were doing that inside a royal residence.
Seriously.
Times have truly changed. And it's important to note, too, the Iwanami Gendai Bunko edition, a later one, includes a cautionary note about discriminatory language from, a 21st century perspective. Crucial context for the period.
That's a vital detail. A reminder that while it's a window into the past, it carries the biases of its time. Okay, so characters bring a story to life, right? And the lonely person has this captivating ensemble, each grappling with their own struggles under that imperial shadow. Our main viewpoint character, our guide, is Chitani Yoshihiko.
Yoshihiko, yeah.
He's a commoner, business family, entered Gakushuin later, so he already feels like an outsider, struggling with inferiority.
Yoshihiko's perspective is absolutely vital. He's our proxy into this incredibly insular world. And his complex relationship, though, non-sexual with his former aunt, Chikaji Tomoko. She's this older, alluring woman. It just emphasizes his internal struggles, his search for identity outside the rigid school and imperial structures.
Right.
He's trying to find his place, much like the Crown Prince, but, from a different angle.
And through his eyes, we see the Miya, the Crown Prince, modeled on Emperor Emeritus Akihito, but called or denka, by his peers. He's portrayed as the symbol of restricted freedom. But how restrictive was it really?
Incredibly so. And it raises that question, doesn't it? How much genuine freedom can you have when your life is basically predetermined, every move scrutinized? The Crown Prince longs for simple teenage things, like ordinary outings, maybe dating. He even wants to invite Toba Yoriko.
Yeah.
She's a former imperial family member, fellow student to a ranch, just a simple thing.
But he can't.
Constantly thwarted by the Imperial Household Agency. And just for context, that's the powerful government body running everything for the imperial family.
Yeah.
They control public and private lives.
Wow.
So his frustration, his isolation, it's not just central to his character, it's at the heart of the novel's critique.
That really paints a picture of the constraints. Then there's Ki. He was the Crown Prince's dorm roommate, a really rebellious spirit.
Oh, I was. He's the one who just takes matters into his own hands, doesn't seem afraid of the consequences.
Exactly.
That daring act where he and she, Aohara, sneak the Crown Prince out to Ginza just to experience simple things like drinking coffee among ordinary people. It's one of the most thrilling, eye-opening moments in the novel.
I bet.
Shows the Crown Prince's desperate need for normalcy. Aiwaz also becomes this voice for freedom, advocating for male-female relationships in class, which Yoshiko, our narrator, perceptively sees as a plea for the Crown Prince's liberation.
Interesting.
But what's also fascinating is Aiwaz's own complicated life. His relationship with Kuko, which leads to a suicide attempt, and his past homosexual relationship with Horipagirawa Nobu, who he apparently took from Yoshihiko. It layers his rebellion with this deep personal complexity, makes him incredibly compelling.
It paints such a vivid picture. These young men grappling with identity, desire, all under intense scrutiny. And contrasting all this rebellion and longing is Kodoku, former aristocrat, very different worldview. He sounds like a foil to Aiwaz.
He absolutely is. Kyugoku represents tradition and, crucially, sacrifice. He genuinely believes the Crown Prince suppressing his individuality is necessary for Japan.
Wow.
And that students should do the same, relinquish their personalities for the nation. A stark ideological contrast to Yoshihiko and Iwaze. He's also involved in that photo scandal.
Ah, yes.
Where Utu Itoi sells a photo of the Crown Prince and Toba Yuriko to a magazine, and Kyogoku tries to frame Yoshihiko for it. Shows how tradition can get twisted, become manipulative.
So there's significant interpersonal drama woven into this grander narrative, a rich tapestry. The novel also powerfully captures the weight of public expectation, especially during that school trip to Miyagi.
Exactly. On that trip, the Crown Prince and his classmates are just constantly surrounded by cheering crowds, waving flags, and this experience is pivotal for Yoshihiko. He has this profound realization.
What's that?
He realizes he is also part of that crowd that unknowingly contributes to the Crown Prince's loneliness. Deepens his sense of guilt. It's a self-aware moment where he sees himself not just as an observer, but a participant in the system isolating his friend.
That's heavy. And the ending.
Yeah.
It sounds bittersweet, really hammering home the core themes. The Crown Prince's 18th birthday party should be celebratory, but feels poignant.
Very poignant. The scene with the awkward gift from Asia, from Yama, an LP record, and even more shockingly, nude playing cards. Including photos of the Crown Prince and Toba Yuriko.
What? Seriously?
Yeah. Speaks volumes about the conflicting desires, the pressures on these young men, and Yoshihiko's despair as he watches the Crown Prince dancing, reflecting on his own powerlessness to change anything. It's palpable. He concludes the Crown Prince's solitude mirrors his own, a powerful, almost tragic realization of shared yet separate isolation.
That's a powerful closing image.
Yeah.
So what was the impact of a novel this candid? It must have stirred up a lot of controversy, criticism.
Oh, absolutely. The reception was really divided. Yomiuri Shimbun praised its earnestness in depicting the prince, but Asahi Shimbun criticized its portrayal of youth, linking it to the Taizoku, the Sun Tribe phenomenon, which depicted rebellious youth, and was seen as, well, morally questionable by some.
Okay.
Politically, it caused a real stir, too. Members of the Japan Socialist Party, like Shigemitsu Akanekubo and Saburo Eda, actually brought it up in the national diet.
In the diet.
Wow.
Yeah, expressing sympathy for the Crown Prince's restricted life, criticizing the Imperial Household Agency. The book even got compared to the American film Blackboard Jungle for its depiction of student bullying. Highlights how edgy it seemed at the time.
Fascinating. A novel sparking public and political debate, reaching the legislature. And a literary giant like Mishima Yukio weighed in. What was his take?
His commentary is incredibly significant. Mishima wrote both a foreword and a review called Too Good, Worrisome. He appreciated the literary merit, noted how the crown prince, like the character Rebecca, influenced everyone from behind the scenes, but he also questioned the ethics of using the real crown prince as a model.
Ah, the ethics.
Right. He even suggested the misery of the crown prince and the students was even implying this shared burden of existence, regardless of status. He was grappling with those boundaries between art, reality, respect for public figures, a debate that still goes on, really.
And later academic interpretations built on that. How did scholars view it with hindsight? Yes. For instance, Watanabe Naoki's introduction to disrespectful literature identified what he called a protective gaze toward the infant emperor, and even a homoerotic descriptive gaze in the text.
Interesting.
Think about it. By showing the crown prince as vulnerable, isolated human with relatable desires, it subtly challenged that divine, unapproachable image the imperial institution often projected. It forced a more human, and therefore potentially critical, perspective on its role. He argued the novel's close depiction implicitly critiqued the symbolic emperor system itself.
Despite, or maybe because of, all this controversy and deep analysis, the novel has really endured. Multiple republications over decades. It shows its continued relevance, doesn't it?
It speaks to its lasting power, absolutely. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it became a touchstone for understanding post-war Japanese identity, especially regarding the imperial family. It's more than just a story. It's a cultural artifact that helped shape public discourse.
And then there's the film. The story didn't just stay on the page. It was adapted into what's now considered a phantom film. Sounds like a cinematic mystery.
It truly is. The 1957 Nikatsu film adaptation, directed by Katsumi Nishikawa, starred Masahiko Tsugawa as Yoshihiko. Black and white, 82 minutes. Interestingly, they changed the school trip location from Miyagi to Nara for filming. Probably logistics, maybe cinematic appeal.
But the production itself was fraught with challenges. Our Nikatsu got threats, and the school was firmly against it.
That's right. Sensitive subject matter. So Nikatsu received threats from right-wing groups. Not happy with this candid depiction. And crucially, Gakushuen, the school, vehemently opposed the film, criticized the commercial exploitation of the imperial family, ordered their students not to participate, flat out.
And this led to that infamous incident with the student actor, Reiji Mitani, who played Funayama, credited as Reiji Akitsu. What exactly happened there?
This is where it gets really interesting. Reveals those deep societal tensions. Despite Gakushuen's explicit ban, he appeared in the film. And as a direct result, expelled. Swiftly. By the principal, Yoshishige Abe. Director Nishikawa felt responsible, understandably.
I would think so.
So he helped Mitani join Nikatsu's acting division, and Mitani later became a celebrated opera director. But the expulsion was widely criticized as an overreaction, a sign of Gakushuen maybe reverting to older, restorationist ways, away from post-war liberalism.
Wow.
And a fun little tidbit. Literary critic Shigehiko Hasumi actually lent his Gakushuen uniform for the film shoot.
No way. That's quite the behind-the-scenes drama. Art, education, social pressure colliding. With all that opposition, how did they manage to portray the Crown Prince in the film at all? Seems impossible.
It was a real tightrope walk. Mitsuru Kurosawa, chosen via public audition, played the role. But because of the sensitivities, he was never shown directly.
So how do they do it?
Clever workarounds, long shots, subjective shots from other characters' perspectives, depictions of him wearing white gloves, things like that to signify his presence without actually showing his face. It navigated the political minefield, allowed his role to be felt without directly showing the imperial figure.
Incredibly resourceful filmmaking.
Yeah.
And there was an unexpected star who emerged from this film, too. Someone launched their career.
Yes, a truly unplanned star turn. Akira Kobayashi, who played Iase. During filming, he just impromptu sang Kisobushi on set.
Really?
Yeah, and it impressed everyone so much, cast, crew, producers, that it led directly to his successful professional singing debut the very next year. A fantastic example of talent being discovered unexpectedly.
That's amazing. But despite all this fascinating history, the talents it nurtured, the film itself has become legendary, right? A phantom film.
Yeah.
Almost a treasure hunt for film buffs.
It truly is. Prints are reportedly not even at Nikatsu anymore. Incredibly rare. Never released on DVD. Never. It was screened at Laputa Asagaya back in 2014, which highlights its historical significance. But yeah, it's a piece of cinematic history that's incredibly hard to see today. Adds to its almost mythical status.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what have we truly gleaned from this journey? We've navigated the intricate world of Kodoku no Hito, this powerful novel and its controversial film, offering a rare, intimate, often unsettling look into a future emperor's youth and the complex relationships around him.
Yeah, this deep dive really reveals how art can capture those universal themes: youth, longing for freedom, rebellion, the sheer burden of expectation, even within the super formalized, rigid context of the imperial institution. It's a vivid portrait of post-war Japan grappling with tradition versus modernity, that constant balancing act between public image and private reality.
And maybe a final thought for you listening. As you consider this story, reflect on how societal roles and expectations, even those meant to, elevate or protect, can paradoxically create profound isolation. What does it truly mean to be the lonely person, and how might we, in our own lives, unknowingly contribute to the solitude of others just by fulfilling the roles we expect them to play?